Hello everyone!
Jesus.
Happy Saturday! Day 2, AtomicKawaii 2025! Woo! Yeah! Love the energy! Everybody can hear me okay? Thumbs up?
Yeah.
Alright, pause. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. You're very good at following instructions. Super proud.
Tell me I'm a good boy.
Welcome. Hello. My name is AtomicKawaii.
I'm Positively Cozy.
And we're going to be hosting this panel. This is Finding Your Niche. So we're primarily going to be focusing on how to find your niche, what that means, why it can be beneficial, why it can sometimes be less beneficial, depending, and kind of the nitty-gritty, and answering questions along the way. So we will pause periodically to see if there's anything that we can cover. She's great. And that's how it's going to kind of go. So we're excited. Thank you so much for being here. To start, if you are not familiar with who I am, hello, I am AtomicKawaii. I am the guest artist here. I've been streaming for 5 years. I have also been doing Artist Alley for 5 years. I have been drawing my whole life, but I've been doing it professionally for the 5 years. And I specialize in drawing anime and cute girls and chibis.
I am the owner and knitter of my business. I started my business in 2017. I think I'm coming up on 8 years of running my business. I learned how to crochet and knit a couple years before that. I knit all of the cat beanies and paw gloves for my business, and my mom crochets our plushies, so we do it a little bit together, but I'm kind of the one the brains behind all of the business stuff and all that, so.
And all of the paws.
Yeah, and normally I have a booth in the Artist Alley. I skipped this year, but hopefully I'll be back next year, and
Sorry, I'm just kidding everyone.
I think I've done the Artist Alley here maybe 5 years in a row, so you've maybe seen my booth in past years, so.
If you've ever bought a tiny crocheted hamster or
A little kitty ghost with the cat beanies on them.
or anything like these featured. So the reason that we wanted to cover this is because both of us, even though we do kind of a broad spectrum thing, like they crochet, I draw anime, we both have a specialty essentially, which is sort of what niche. Sort of what niche means, and we're hyped for it. Please don't fall. That's okay. Anyway, so we're going to be kind of just talking about how we got there. You want to start? You've got cute notes.
What do you want me to say? Okay. So I think the thing with my niche is that it develops over time. But I started off kind of just doing cutesy things, sort of pastel vibes. And I've kind of developed more into going from pastel pink to hot pink, and more getting in touch with my inner more emo. I got the skeleton beanies and stuff. So I've been leaning more into that lately, and I think that's been good. I don't do any fan art or anything. I do just original stuff, just cute hamsters, things like that, cat beanies, paw gloves. Sometimes I do things inspired by certain colors, but it's all just original stuff, so it's not necessarily anything fandom based, but it's stuff that I know people at anime conventions love anyway, so that's sort of what my niche is, I guess, in a broad spectrum. A lot of it is very visual and being able to tell what someone's niche is. It's just the overall vibe that you can see from their products, their social media, websites, stuff like that. So it's a little hard to describe with words, but yeah, that's sort of how I would describe it with words.
I guess specialty, essentially. Yeah. So it's niching down is essentially to cut out other things and focus more onto a specific, maybe even less, okay, specific and less broad are just kind of synonyms, huh? Just more specific thing. So, how do you find that? Like she said, it kind of happens over time. You typically don't just wake up one day and go this is what I want to do and nothing else. And if you do, that's great, you know, good for you. Most of us kind of have to like dip our toes into a bunch of different categories, and then eventually we'll land on like, you know what, that didn't feel right, but this does, so we're gonna stay in our lane, because this is what makes us happy.
It's definitely a lot of trial and error. You have to figure out what you don't want to do to be able to figure out what you do want to do. For sure.
And then, so, she kind of talked about her niche. For me, you know, like, yes, I draw anime, but I do specialize in more, like, female characters and chibis, and just things that overall I try to make everything cute. Not just because it's in the name of my brand, but because that's what I like to draw. And it did take me a while to kind of, like, get to that. You know, I tried things that were maybe a little bit more on, like, the hyper-rendered side. I've tried things that were a little bit more on, not like full spicy, but spicier, and none of that really brought me the same amount of joy that like drawing really just things that I felt were truly just cute at their core. Even if it was something that was, I don't know, not traditionally cute, like a little ugly frog from Apothecary Diaries.
He's so cute.
Jinshi.
So cute.
But that's kind of what my niche was, and I did have to try a lot of things to get to that point. And even now, I've had many people be like, "Oh, I would love to see this from you. I would love to see that from you," but that's not the thing that like really makes me happy, and the thing that I want my brand and me to be about. So there's our niches.
Yeah.
Niches, is that the niche? Niches.
It might just be niche.
Is it like the what's the circle thing in neighborhoods? Yeah, the other version of that is like a really silly word. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Not important. Niches is what we're going with. Okay. Yeah, that's where I was kind of. Why don't you take the lead? What makes you different?
Yeah, so I think the thing, again, with finding your niche is like finding what makes you different from other people. For me, something, I know sometimes crochet people will all use the same patterns and stuff, which is great. I think something that specifically makes my business stand out from maybe other people's is that I do have the combination of like the knit hats and gloves and stuff with the crochet plushies. And so being able to merge those two definitely makes me different. So sometimes it's not always just doing less, but maybe like a unique way of combining different things that not everyone else would necessarily combine.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that that's like the fun take on it is like for me, like I like to make things very cute, even if they're not necessarily cute or like in my style. And sometimes I think I even like struggle with fighting against, especially for like fan art, because I do fan art, like I'll look at the references, and sometimes it's hard not to like let my style lean into the style of the fan art that I am referencing, because I want it to look true to the character. But sometimes I get so hyper-focused on that it almost doesn't look like mine, and I have to kind of reevaluate. So it's such a fun journey. And sometimes it can kind of like exclude you from categories, but I think that's almost a good thing, because when you kind of know what you like to do and you put like your whole heart into it, it sets you apart, because that's where you know you need to be. So you're not fighting against these other categories that you don't even want to be in the first place.
I know something that comes up a lot, people will complain that my hats like cost too much money, and I'm like, okay, so are you gonna go to Amazon and Google and find a skeleton cat meaning like in the style? You can't. It's something that like is unique, it's handmade. Even if it wasn't handmade, it's like still just like an aesthetic that like isn't as just widely available on Amazon, and so like you just gotta, it's not easy to replicate. And so if someone wants this hat, I'm the one that will make it for you. You know, nobody else can just make this, if that sort of makes sense. So
Are you gatekeeping?
no, I literally do.
I was gonna say what brings us joy, but I think we're kind of covering that, huh?
You're just stealing my notes. Shh. She's copying my homework.
She's very type A, and I kind of love it. Yeah, I mean, like, I kind of covered the things that bring me joy. Like, I just like to create things that are, like, truly cute, whether they're supposed to be cute or not. which is kind of the fun of it, truly.
I know this was something that we were going to bring up later, but I know you wanted to ask me about like why I only do like specific like plushies and stuff. Like I don't just make a frog, a cat, a bunny, like all these things. Like we have like a set like product line that we do, and that kind of ties into what brings us joy because my mom specifically, she's a lot like me. We both are like very enjoy tedious activities, and we enjoy the craft of crochet and knitting, and we kind of just want to do it. And so there's a lot of trial and error with like trying new patterns, trying to figure things out. And so sometimes it's like, let's just make the same thing over and over again. And we both really enjoy that. And so it makes sense to just narrow what we offer because of that. And then we can just make the same thing over and over again in different colors. And that is what brings us joy while also keeping us niche. Our plushies, I split into the categories of paw pals and cozy critters. So you get like the paw positively, like the critters, cozy critters. And so it's like, it's either a plushie that has paws or it's like a cozy critter, like sharks, turtles, things like that.
I love cozying up with sharks.
Yeah, exactly. It's a cozy critter.
Very much so.
Anyway, so that like helps guide me on like what things fit. And so we've got like a set amount of cozy critters that we offer and a set amount of paw pals that we offer for like the plushies and stuff. And so it helps it narrow down, but also like we just enjoy making the same things over and over again. So.
Well, and I'm gonna guess that you didn't just like wake up one day and be like, I'm only gonna make these and these are gonna be the categories. I'm assuming that you guys did.
It usually takes
multiple
like
things.
a couple years to finally add like a new like type of plush or something to our lineup. Like we started with like hamsters. I think one of our newest one was just like finding a good bear pattern that we like to use. And so it takes us years to figure out which one we want to use, and then we keep doing it until we don't want to do it anymore. Even if it's not selling, we'll just keep making it because we like it. This is my episode, sorry.
It's really good. It's way too sensitive.
We'll just share it.
Yeah. We can share. I mean, and I'm kind of similar. Like, I draw a lot of things, but like for me, my moral compass in a way, but also kind of goes into the niche factor is that I don't like to draw characters that I haven't like seen or played or I'm familiar with, because when I conceptualize a piece, I want to be able to kind of like imagine what that character would be doing. Like if it's a shy character, they're obviously not going to be like, ah, you know, but if it's like an outgoing character, they're probably not going to be like, ah. Can you? Yes, but I like to personally draw things that I feel like represent the thing that I'm drawing. So if I have no idea, unless it's like a commission, that's a little different, but if I have no idea, then I personally struggle a lot with even coming up with the concept of like, this is what I want to create. Like my creative process kind of gets stunted. And as far as products go, like I also won't make a lot of products. And it's not because I don't think they do well, I just don't want to have like a massive catalog, and when I design something or I draw something, I want to draw it with intention. It's like, I know these things do well. I like making these things, like lanyards, for example, or like stickers. So I draw those things with the intention of them being that way. Could I translate them to other things? Yes, but I think personally, I do like to have limitations, because in a way it almost like keeps you in check a little bit, but in a good way. And your customers know what to expect too, which is nice if you're doing it professionally.
You cannot do everything. You have to know that you can't do everything. Even if you want to do everything, sometimes it's best to not do everything.
Sorry, I'm holding the mic, which means I get to make funny comments.
Do you want to say any questions?
Yeah, hey, let's take a question break. Anybody got some?
So at what point do you realize of not only are you trying to find your niche for yourself personally to what you want to enjoy, but also where you feel like you don't need to do everything. This is what I'm gonna do, and if people don't like it, tough, this is what I want to make my name on.
I think a good example for that for me is I was talking about our bear plushies. They don't sell like super great, but like I'm not gonna not have a bear. Because like I like bears, they're cute. They're like this big and they're cute. So like I'm gonna do it. And And also, like, trends go up and down. Like, you never know what's gonna sell well in certain years. So I don't know. Maybe next year, all of you will come to my booth and buy a pair. So I don't know if that answers the question, but
I think that's actually really valid too, because two pieces of great advice I've received. One, every year is different and every show is different, which I don't know if that's really advice, but it's worked well for me. And two, when you create things you love, you will find your audience. It may not be at that show. I feel like some of my new stuff almost has to marinate a couple of shows, and then people are like, oh my god, this thing, I'm gonna buy all of it. I'm like, cool, this hasn't sold at all. So, I mean, that's the perk of finding your niche.
I think
Niche.
I think there's like pros and cons of finding your niche, because the pro is that the people that find it will attach to you and love it. Sometimes it does take things to be slow. Things will move slower because you are more niche. I think I'm gonna show my YouTube channel. I've been doing like vlogs and stuff, and I really just like making vlogs of like just what I do, and like occasional artist alley vlogs. But the thing with YouTube is sometimes you can only really grow your channel well if you're doing like tutorials, how-to stuff, and I like just like don't want to do that. And so I'm like coming to terms with the fact that it's going to take my channel longer to grow just doing vlogging content, and I'm okay with that because it's what I want to make, if that makes sense. So you have to deal with maybe things being slower, but then the people that find you and love it like are like hard committed.
And I feel like, piggybacking off that, when you start getting that audience, that's when the confidence starts growing, and that's when you really start hitting that point where you're like, you know what? No, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. And that's where you almost get that like audacity, in a sense, to cut things out.
I would rather have one person being like, oh my god, your stuff is so amazing, I love it so much, and have them buy from me, buy like 10 different hat and glove sets from me,
Forever.
than have 10 different people be like, oh yeah, I like that, and like be like, think it's cute and wear it every once in a while. I would rather have one person be like really into it, and I think that's like something important to aim for when like having your niche and stuff.
Any other questions?
Yeah. I know it can be very tempting to do something way out. How do you recommend avoiding that?
Like niching down too much, or?
Going out of your niche.
Yeah.
Oh,
Going way outside of it.
I think it's okay to attempt. It will either not work, you'll find out you don't enjoy it, maybe it'll become your new niche for all you know. I always say just like, try stuff.
Yeah, like if you want to try it, even if it is really off the wall or really odd, it could be your next bestseller. It could be the next thing that makes you feel really excited. You can experiment. And I think that that's part of the trial and error process of getting to that point, because it's definitely not an overnight thing. It's a slow burn, and we will do our best to give you all of our guidance, but ultimately there's no 100% formula to figuring it out other than trusting your own instincts, trying things, and failing, and also succeeding, of course. But it's part of the process of getting to that to build that confidence. Yeah.
So would you then say that because you like it, that there's a good chance that at least one other person likes it too?
Yep.
Enthusiastic head nod. Yes, no, I think that's absolutely it. Like, I've talked about this, if anybody's been to multiple of my panels, I'm sorry, I'm gonna repeat myself, but if you love it, other people are gonna feed off that energy, and there's gonna be somebody out there that loves it just as much as you, even if it's weird, even if it's niche, even if like there's only 3 people who have ever heard of it. One of those 3 people is gonna find you, and they're gonna love it so much, and then you're gonna find out there's more than 3 people, because there's never just 3 people.
Fuck yeah.
Oh my god. Isabel.
So when you create a new product, is there, or new art or or anything? Is there a certain item you use to test that to see if it sells to move on to bigger items? And if so, which items do you use for like that test run?
So like I've had a couple of plushies that I've like discontinued, just because it doesn't sell over time. Maybe it's not something that's bringing me joy anymore to sell. And so at a certain point, and again, this is like I've been doing this for almost 8 years. It's like, oh, I'll have this product for 3 years. It doesn't sell after 3 years. I'm like, okay, well, I guess we don't need this one anymore, sort of thing. It's probably like easier to retire like prints and stuff.
It is, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, an example I can give is I did try hoodies for a while. I thought that they were gonna be banger, I thought I was gonna love it. I tried it, and people liked them, and I liked them, but I didn't love them. So instead of continuing to push it and build more designs, I just decided to move on and try something different. But it did take me, I think I had it in my lineup for about a year before I was just like, you know what, no, this just isn't for me. And it wasn't necessarily the audience's reaction, it was a little bit of both. It was my feelings towards it and my audience's kind of lack of enthusiasm. The only counter argument I ever have to that is that, for example, for me, like a product, like a shirt, when you have more designs, they do tend to get a different response to if you just have one. So that can be the only challenge with testing products. But I think a lot of this is like building a little bit of like a gut instinct or like a business instinct for it.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to sit with it too. Patience, I think, is a very underestimated thing when it comes to finding your niche. Everyone's like, oh, let me go find my niche. That's not, you have to just like sit with stuff sometimes.
Patience, what's that? Can I eat it?
I knit, I have to have patience. Everyone's like, oh, I can't knit, I'm not patient enough. You gotta be patient.
That's me. I'm not patient. That's why I draw and I don't knit. That's why you have the good notes. You.
Is there anything specific other than hashtags that you do to get your social media posts to your niche?
I have notes on this. I think this is a great opportunity to talk about finding a lot of people call it a target market. I consider it a target person because you need to imagine in your head the person you are selling to. And I think the best way to go about your social media presence, if you can, when you can, is make all of your content for that person. Even if it's an imaginary person, there's real people that will be like that person. And so communicating to that person is sort of my advice. I don't use hashtags. Do you use hashtags?
Oh, yeah.
I don't use hashtags. But like,
They suck, I don't like
yeah, no, it's not fun. I think, sorry, I'm still talking. But the main thing with my business, I think, too, is there's a difference between, for me, communicating like with the other people that crochet and people that buy my stuff. There is overlap in those two groups, but it's not. If I were to post a picture of a plushie that I'm selling, I don't want to do hashtag crochet, hashtag teddy bear pattern, because that's going to get it to the other people that would make something like what I'm making. Whereas I want to put it towards like cute home decor or like kawaii, you know. So that would be me trying to reach the person that I want to buy my product, if that kind of makes sense. So like talking to that specific person that you're wanting to see your content. Don't make me choose who business.
Also, in the note of hashtags, I'm no help. I just throw spaghetti at the walls and hope it works. I'm very basic. I'm like hashtag drawing, hashtag chibi. I should do hashtag spaghetti.
I don't really sell the stuff that I like to make, but I know a lot of people that are newer into selling their stuff get a little self-conscious when it comes to pricing. Do you guys have like any tips or tricks for people that might be thinking like, oh, I don't really want to talk about pricing stuff, but I mean it's a big part of selling whatever your niche is.
Alright, I have notes on this too. I feel like my pricing also sort of defines my niche personally because my products are expensive. This is a $75 hat. These gloves, I actually don't know how much they are, but like $65, $70 for like these separately. And that is on purpose. First of all, I would like to be paid for my time because these also take, like, I can't just like make these in a day. It takes multiple days to make. And so, another thing is like, I don't necessarily rely on this for my main source of income. And so I feel like I'm in a perfectly privileged opportunity to help educate on the pricing of handmade items. And so I'm very confident in the fact that my stuff is expensive, and I'm okay that not everybody can afford it, and I understand that. And so I think it's nice to be able to help educate people on like that crafts like this deserve to be paid. I feel like that didn't answer your question at all, but pricing is hard. Don't undersell yourself. If you're doing something, you deserve to be paid for it.
Yeah.
What?
Can I add to that?
Yes.
If you're confident in that your product is a good product, you shouldn't feel bad about getting paid for your time.
Absolutely. Yes. Confidence helps a lot.
I'm not gonna
I will also say that don't ever think my stuff isn't worth it, because if you don't believe in you, no one will believe in you. And if you have to fake it till you make it, that's fine. Do it, put on that little fake smile and go, yes, I definitely think I should charge this much. I mean, I think at the end of the day, you should always be trying to at least charge a livable wage, not a minimum wage, but a livable wage. What 90% of niches are is a luxury item. It's not a necessity, it's not food, water, a roof over your head. Yeah, just here, go.
And it's also something that can grow over time. My prices didn't start off like this. I started with basic cat beanies, $35. Now even my basic ones go to $40, $45. It can grow, as your niche grows, your pricing can also grow with that, so.
Sorry, piggybacking off that as well. As you continue to go into it, your skills essentially will grow. And if you are improving, you should be price adjusting accordingly because you have invested more time into your skill set, therefore you should charge more. Yes.
So let's say that you might have an idea of what your niche is, but you're not entirely sure because it's like not basic, but it's not like solid. It's like something like backgrounds or just putting colors together. How would you figure out if that's truly what you're into and what your skills go towards, or like if there's other avenues?
I would say as far as skills, your skills are gonna go into the categories you put your skill points in. So like, I don't practice backgrounds on the regular, therefore my background, like, experience level is a little bit lower than like my anatomy or like my coloring, because I don't spend an essential amount of time working on that. It's not a priority to me. But that's also because backgrounds bring me pain. I mean, they don't bring me joy. So if you want to invest a skill into something, that's where your skill set will lie. As far as figuring out if that is what you want to do, I think that kind of goes into the trial and error part of it, where you have to try it, and you do have to try it for a while. You have to sit with it and see if it's making you happy. If you're doing it and it's not giving you anything back mentally and emotionally, then yeah, I would say it's probably not for you. You want to note on that?
No, that was perfect.
You're perfect. Yes.
So, at what point do you find yourself like trying to fight feelings of guilt if you get new inspiration? If I'm spitballing K-pop Demon Hunters for just a random example, you find something.
As if both of us haven't spent the past like 2 weeks doing K-pop Demon Hunters.
I've been bullying her for weeks to watch it. So.
I've made 2 K-pop Demon Hunter hat and glove sets in the past 2 weeks.
But in all seriousness, like, you find inspiration for a new project or a new piece of art. How do you prioritize like the things you've been working on, the things you feel like you need to complete, but also something that is taking up a lot of the brain power of what you want to create versus what you feel you need to create?
I think if you're extremely drawn to something that you feel like you really, really want to make, I think you should do it, because then when you have so much passion behind it, that's gonna like follow through with stuff, and people are gonna like it, and maybe that makes it be what you need to make.
I actually totally agree with that. I've definitely hard dropped projects that I need to do to chase something that I have zero idea if it's going to benefit me. Like something I really enjoy is Draw the Linear Styles. I feel like they renew my creative passion a lot. It's a great change of pace. Most of the Draw the Linear Styles that I do, I will request from the artist that I'm doing it for if I can sell the piece at shows. Do they sell very often? No. Does it make me happy and keep me not sad? Yes. So like you need a balance. Like I would say try not to always just be like, I'm not gonna do what needs to be done to chase the next like passion high, but it is good to take breaks to do passion pieces because otherwise it will burn out hard. And then I feel like sometimes when you burn out, it's even harder to realize, it's harder to recognize the love in your niche. Did I say that right? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yes.
So, as far as you know, a lot of it, it's actually quite common to undercharge. How do you know what's, like, what you should be charging?
This is a weird question.
If you want just like a straight formula, it gets complicated because you've got time, you've got materials, you've got taxes. Nobody likes to talk about the taxes. Automatically you have to add like plus 30% for federal taxes, plus like 7% for sales tax on top of everything. Also, you need to profit. If you're only covering your time, materials, taxes, you're not making any money. So you need to profit also on top of all of that. And I will say, at least in my category, a lot of people do underprice. So it's not as easy as just going to Etsy and seeing what everyone else is charging.
Don't go to Etsy. Sorry.
They're not charging. They are not charging.
Use that as a base, please. Or Amazon. Jesus.
I have a lot of Excel spreadsheets for calculating things. And then at a certain point, and I'm kind of at this point where over time you get a vibe for it. So if I make a new design and it's like based on the $40 hat, but then this one's a little bit harder, it's like, okay, well this one will be 45, and then the little bit more complicated one will be 50, and the little bit more complicated one will be 55 or whatever, you know. And so you kind of like grow off of your own past set prices. At least that's kind of what I do.
I definitely had a Excel sheet forwarded to me from all of my artist friends with a full compilation of the average pricing of the markets, and yeah. So that's what I use, along with I go to my friends' tables and I go, what are they charging?
Oh, fair.
But I do always, I think I mentioned this in my earlier panel, but I never charge anything less than double what I am paying for it, because that's the only way I'm profiting at all.
And that doesn't count for crafts because my yarn costs $5.
Yeah, but your time is priceless.
Exactly.
Like tacos.
Taco.
No, I had tacos tonight. Yes.
I have a question. It's not even niche. What if you're like interested in a niche product? Like say, hey, I like you like anime, like eating hot shot, like something more modernish. But you also want to preserve an old style. Like I want to preserve older style food. So if I combine them together, but it's still considered like a niche, something very niche, and with I suppose the pricing would have to follow with that as well.
What was the second part?
No, I'm just saying, but what if, let's say, I'm sorry about that. And, well, let's say this. What if you want to preserve traditional art but using, let's say, anime for that one? Would that be something considered with pricing? Sorry about it.
You mean traditional art like painting and markers and stuff, or?
Let's say like flute making.
Oh, okay.
Traditional crafts.
No, I think that's fantastic, and I think that you're gonna hit a market that nobody else is hitting. Like, you know, nobody was making anime themed lotions until somebody made anime themed lotions. That's hyper niche. Does it do banger at cons? Yes. Like, if you love it and you think it's cool, especially if there is like some type of market for it, which, let's be honest, there's a market for everything. There's some weird stuff out there. But like, you know, somebody is gonna like it. You just need to be able to take that to places that have your market, and I think that's the more important part of that equation. Do it. Yes, turn back.
I had a question in regards to like retaining customers or having returning customers. When you're in a niche, you have a smaller demographic in general. Do you have any advice for like offering new products or incentivizing this smaller demographic of people to buy again from you?
How does that work?
So at least like on my online shop, I have, I call them call points, that returning customers, they earn discounts on their future orders, things like that. Also, so this is kind of a good place where like social media can tie in. They can follow me on social media, they can see what I'm making, things like that. And a lot of my returning customers are people that like, I'm like sort of just like mutuals with. Like they'll comment on my stuff, I'll respond back, like I know how the cats are doing, stuff like that. So it's kind of just like building relationships. The smaller the demographic is, the better you can get to know the people inside of it.
Yeah, I would say that my best luck with that too is like, especially for returning customers, even with it's like stuff they already have. Because I've had people come back and be like, I really like this, and now I'm back to get the exact same thing, but for my friend. So it's building the relationships that I think is probably more important for me too, which is also why I love doing in-person events, because you really get that like genuine opportunity to look somebody in the eyes and learn about them, connect with them, and get to know them. But even from an online standpoint, you know, like responding to your comments, giving genuine responses, not just being like, TY, you know, being like, thank you so much, I was really excited to do this piece, and I'm super stoked that you liked it. Like, taking the time to show them that you care to interact with them and that you care about your audience, because like, I mean, I genuinely do. Like, I love my audience. I love the people that I've met through doing this. Those are the people that I feel like come back, get my new products, rebuy my old products. Like, I have people who their charms break and they buy a new one. Same thing, just because they love it that much. So I think that it's more about, especially in a niche market, building that super genuine connection, and then taking the time to shiny, easily distracted. Taking the time to get to know them, to talk passionately about your projects, and give kind of your backstory. Like, be vulnerable, let them get to know you too, and then that's when you get that like true, I love everything you do community. Any notes? Did you good teach?
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Gold star.
Yes.
How do you keep working in your niche and not getting discouraged when you feel like it starts to become oversaturated? Like other people just start flooding the market.
Okay. I think it's easy to get discouraged at any point, truly. You know, I think we're all our own worst critics. So as far as like if it's oversaturated, everybody has their own different kind of method of, I call it refilling the well. I personally really like to look, as an artist, I like to look at other artwork or other people in my field doing things that I find beautiful, because that inspires me. So even when it's oversaturated, like K-pop Demon Hunters, woo! Thank you, I agree. But I like to look at other pieces of that, because it gets me so excited, and then I feel rejuvenated, and then I have the confidence to also want to put that out there. everybody has their own rhythm. I know some people really love to like just take a break, do a hard break, go to something that's a hobby like reading or video games. But I think that that almost falls more into like the burnout, lack of confidence category. And more than anything, I think taking a step back, taking a beat, and just inwardly reflecting and doing something that makes you feel good will kind of pull that back in. Because it is hard to be in a niche. It's hard to say no to people. Like, no, I'm not going to do this. Because it feels like rejection at moments until you start realizing that you're not saying, no, I'm not going to do this. You're saying, yes, I just do this.
Another kind of direction on that question is, even if things are getting oversaturated, which I think we definitely both can understand that experience, someone else that's in your same niche isn't necessarily your competitor. There's room for both of you. In fact, I would say if someone really likes my stuff and there's someone else that's doing something similar, they're just gonna maybe support both of us, you know? And so there's always gonna be, as long as you're like following yourself, you're gonna be unique enough that you're always gonna have like something that'll be a little different. But at the end of the day, even if two people have the exact same niche, it's not gonna be the exact same, and also you're not necessarily a competitor. Maybe you're just both doing it and the customer will just support both of you. I think I've definitely had that experience. I have a lot of crochet friends that make similar stuff, and people buy from both of us, and it's not really an issue, so.
And just one final note on that, my favorite inspirational quote, I don't even think it's mine, I don't remember where I got it, but it's when you water the garden, everybody grows. So it's not they're against you, we're all in this together, so. Yeah, it's okay, my husband's sick. Yes.
Sorry, this is a bit of a more personal question here, but I've been trying my hands for a while. I am disabled, so I was looking to see how do you find consistency in keeping enjoying what you're doing? Because I have not fatigue, so I only have a certain amount of energy every single day, and sometimes I have planned things I want to do or work on, and I just don't have. I feel like I'm letting my years down, but it's not able to keep up.
I feel like I sort of relate to this a lot. I'm very lucky that I don't rely on this for my income, but I sort of just have to admit and accept that I feel like my business is going to be slower and grow slower than other people's because I can't crank out every single day. There's some weeks where it's like I can't knit this week or my hands get tired and it's like I'm not gonna. And so accepting that it's okay that it might just go a little bit slower. I don't know if that's like helpful, but I definitely am also just not a very fast-paced person or business, and I think that's okay. I think, in fact, I kind of try to lean into that as part of my niche, is that my business, it's not slow, but like intentionally paced, and I want my business specifically to be something that is comforting to me that I can do at my own pace.
Could you repeat what the question was?
It was about how to manage doing all of this with like chronic fatigue, disability, stuff like that.
I agree with that a lot. Actually, one of my best friends, she does newbies. Has anybody ever heard of those? They're little like plush that are kitties. If you have, cool. Anyway, she struggles with chronic fatigue, and at the end of the day, we can all only do what we can do. So if you don't have the spoons that day, I don't think you should ever force yourself. And I don't think that you would be doing, you're not less than. You're not doing anybody any favors by pushing through that or beating yourself up that you can't. I think that just trying to navigate it with taking it one step at a time and learning what your limits are and how to navigate those. Because there are days that, and I don't have disabilities, there are days I have a whole day planned the night before. And the next day I wake up and I'm like, nope, not doing that. Doing something totally different. But I evaluate and I go, okay, this is what I do have energy for, and I try to be kind to myself, and I'm still working on that through therapy. But just, you'll get there. Don't ever let yourself feel like you can't do something, because you can, and it's okay when you can't. Yeah. You've been so patient.
I've got another one.
Yes.
So in a world where we are running into so many like side projects where people can type one sentence into Chat GPT. What is the best advice you ever people, like, I work in a completely different sector from art, but we have jobs that are being replaced by AI. What do you guys see on your end as artists, as creators, as, you know, even on the YouTube side? I know Atomic has a lot of feelings on AI, and they are very valid. But just like, how do you guys like come up with ideas or try to fight against something like that where people are coming to cons and trying to pass off AI art as their own? You don't have to be PG on this.
I knit, so I don't have to be super concerned about it yet, but there's.
Want to talk about AI generated knitting patterns?
Yeah. Oh, they're bad. Yeah, no, that is bad. AI generated knitting patterns are so bad. It's all over Etsy too. It's everywhere. Why? They're selling them. I don't understand.
It's fine. We're fine. It's okay. We're not. I'm very normal about this subject.
Let it out.
Thanks.
Let it out. Let it out.
That's a
Let it out.
multi-tiered question. Yeah, I don't have time to let it out. However, the summary is AI will never be able to create the genuine human spark that is created through art.
Fuck yeah!
I didn't applause. I need to pop off. But
We'll pop off.
no, listen, later. So ask me now. But I truly believe that AI generated images, because it's not art, will never replace what we can do. And if anything, I feel like it's hit a point where people are almost being pushed more towards creating human art, because when somebody sees a company and can recognize that it's been generated, they go, oh, that company's cheap. They can't even pay their artists. They can't even hire an artist. That must not be good quality. And I do genuinely hear this from people. I'm not just like on that side of the internet. I've heard it from multiple different sides. So regardless of what a software or some program is able to create, that's not a competition in my opinion. If anything,
Fuck yes.
I know I can do better.
Woo! Yeah!
And you guys can too.
Here.
Cool, you.
So I'm not a craftsman or a writer, so this is kind of a general art question.
Hooray, thank you.
Say you're like trying to improve your craft, learning new skills, doing something that might be kind of new and controversial. And maybe it's not going to be received that well, but you don't want to hear that because you're a very prideful artist. I guess, like, how do you tell the difference between self-confidence and self-deception? Like, at what points should you, like, listen to critics, and at what point should you say, no, they don't know what they're talking about?
I have notes on sort of that. It's like a little bit different, but honestly, that's like a constant struggle though. Overconfidence versus not. We had something to talk about here, but like when people have asked us to do things and when we've said no versus when we've said yes. And I'm just going to give examples because I feel like that's really the best way to describe talking about niche, because I can't talk about your niche or what you're doing with your writing, but I can talk about how I handle it with my niche and my business. People a lot of times, because I make the cat beanies, they're like, oh, you should put a little kitty face on it. And I'm like, no, because when you're wearing a positively cozy cat beanie, you are the cat. You are the cat. You're not wearing the cat. You are the cat. Meow. Okay. And so that's like an example of where I'm not interested in that advice. But then there was one time someone wanted a custom order. I think it was like a Harley Quinn inspired hat. And they wanted it to be half black, half white, and then they wanted the little ears to be like opposite colors. And at the time, I wasn't doing like these little triangles in the ear, and I'm like, oh, I don't really know how to do that. I don't think I'd do that. I said no for a while. It took about a year of like sitting with it. I'm like, maybe I should try that. And honestly, now I do this to have little triangles in a lot of my hats, and it's been like incredible. It's been, I sell a lot of my hats with them. I charge an extra $10 for little triangles, so that was like a good. When someone told me what to do and I followed it, it was a yes, so does that?
Yeah, so yeah. Like, do push yourself.
Yeah, again, it's a lot of trial and error.
I am In agreement. I'm a firm believer in, and this is gonna sound weird, but no advice is bad advice, because even if you don't like it, you'll know that it's not for you. At least you know that you don't want that thing. Have you ever been like, I'm not really sure if I want tacos or pizza? And you're like, I can
Taco
flip
pizza.
and then you're like, I'm gonna flip a coin for it. And you flip that coin, and it lands on tails, which means pizza, and you're like, you know, they actually want tacos. That's what I feel like advice is essentially. It's like, even if you don't want, like, even if you don't think it works for you, you can now rule that out that that doesn't work for you. So I'm a big fan of constructive criticism. I think that as long as it's constructive, that's fantastic. Now, if someone's just like, you suck, no one's ever gonna buy that, your stuff is not good enough to sell, those people can go somewhere else that I'm not gonna say with words.
You will still get that. I've gotten that a lot. But people still buy my stuff, so sometimes people are wrong when they give you advice. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, ultimately it's up to you to trust your own instincts, to be like, that doesn't feel good to me. But I think that getting feedback is fantastic regardless of if it's something you end up using or not. Yes.
So I've been having a struggle finding my niche in that my brain operates at the same pace as a hamster on speed. I have massive ADHD and I just try to hop between 15 different projects. Do you need advice on how to handle that?
Well, you make lists, and then you make more lists, and then you compile those lists into a bigger list, and then when you don't know what to do, you go, I have a list, and then you go back to it.
Terrible.
I personally, kind of like what I was talking about earlier, where there are some days where I have a whole day planned, and then I wake up and my brain, I call it bad brain days. Where it's like, I'll be like, tomorrow I'm gonna do admin work, and I wake up and I'm like, I can't do admin work, I just need to draw pictures. And I try to follow that for the most part. If it's something that is not like on a deadline, then I will go for it. But like if it's like an order that needs to go out that day because it's about to hit the shipping deadline, I'll push through it. But if it's like they just placed that order that day and I just cannot physically bring myself or my brain to do that, then I adjust and I try to be kind to myself about it. And that has been something I have struggled with, where I used to be really hard on myself because I also struggle with ADHD. Where ADHD, all of us. I also used to be really brutal and being like, I'm a failure because I was supposed to do this today and I couldn't bring myself to do that task. Why does my brain have to operate this way? But I think that it's almost better to recognize what you are capable of and try to ride that as long as it's not at a detriment to the things you absolutely have to do.
Pop off, queen. Hey-o.
I thought we were all gonna chant, okay. We have about 5-ish minutes. We can probably do like one more question, then we're gonna probably have to wrap up.
We covered a lot of it. No, we did.
See, the audience covers it for us. It's great.
Where can we find you on social media?
We'll get there. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're gonna do you and then you, and I'll be done. Go ahead.
So talking about burnout, how do you work through it? We have to work through it. How do you not show that in your work, or how to get out of it? I guess.
One tip, and please don't regard to like social media, if you're experiencing burnout and not wanting to make new stuff, just repost old stuff. That's a tip. My entire TikTok page now is just old TikToks of work that I did like 3 years ago when I was really into making TikToks.
Your memory from that day.
Yeah. That's my social media plan. Is I just post my TikTok memory for the day.
I've actually gotten that advice from a very successul artist as well. They're like, you run out of new content, just repost your old stuff. It's been a while. All right. Remember that time that I did? As far as like, I guess like creative burnout, I'm gonna kind of reflect back to what I said. Everybody sort of has their own formula, but I think the the basics of it is, it's good to take a step back. I am a workaholic, so that's hard for me. But there are some days where I will sit there and try to draw. And I joke that I feel like I'm drawing drunk because when I go back to it in a better headspace, I'm like, what did I do? This is awful. Like, my lines are sloppy. And most of the time I have to redo it because I'm not happy with it. So why did I waste that time when I could have been taking the time to take care of myself, to give myself a break, to refresh, to breathe, to refill that well? So I think that finding things that bring you joy or that make you feel passionate again, whether that's a video game, watching K-pop Demon Hunters for the 13th time, listening to the soundtrack for the 100th time, whatever it is, that will be the thing that will pull you through it, and giving yourself the grace to take that step back, because you're gonna make your best work when you're feeling good about that work. All right, and for you?
That kind of bounces off of that last one. Have you guys ever revisited part of your particular flaws from the past because you weren't feeling it, but in the future you kind of were feeling it again? Is that viable? Have you made profits out of that or anything like that? Come back to that niche at any point?
Have you ever rotated back? I don't think there's definitely not anything wrong with it. I mean, I think just following what you're passionate about and feeling, for sure. But I don't know if I have a specific example of that. I feel like I'm always like growing and adding. I'm always adding more than I'm like taking away. Just because that's kind of where I'm at with my business. But
maybe you would not really add it in the way that you discovered, how to make it instead of just going again or something like that. Or something like that.
I mean, I do that with pieces sometimes, like art pieces, where like I started an Nina piece from HoloLive like a year ago, and for whatever reason, I just couldn't get it to like work the way I wanted it to. And so I did pick it back up after a year, and when I did, I did feel like I was able to fix the problems that were bothering me and really fall in love with it again. And that's the only example that I can think of, is that sometimes I will go back to old art pieces. I never throw anything away, it's a problem. So like my whip graveyard is huge, but sometimes going back to those pieces and being able to like get what you wanted out of it that you weren't able to get before is so satisfying. As far as like merchandise, typically if I drop something, I don't bring it back. But I guess like for me, enamel pins, I've kind of phased them out, but I haven't phased them out with the intention of never potentially bringing them back. Just right now, I don't think that that's a good focus for me. And I don't have the like spoons or inspiration to dive into that because I'm focusing on other things. But I think as I grow, I would definitely try enamel pins again. So I don't think there's anything wrong with like dropping stuff for a while and bringing it back, or trying things again if they didn't work before.
Derpy merch?
Therapy merch?
No, derpy.
Derpy, oh, I mean, not me.
I made that candy game dog love derpy stuff.
Derpy the tiger.
Well, we are at time, so we're gonna wrap up for the next panelist.
There's a very limited number of my ribbons. If you could take maybe just only one, I would appreciate it because there's not very many left. I also have my business cards up there. Both of us have been working on our YouTube channels. You should follow us both on YouTube, subscribe to us, watch all of our videos. It's good, it's good.
I blog cons, so this will be in it.
So do I.
And she blogs her life.
Well, business stuff, so.
Well, that's your life.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody so much. Have a great Saturday.